Hi, well, welcome back. We're on another episode already, doing the near side sill. This has been a bit more challenging than I expected it to be. The offside sill needed a little bit of fettling, but it wasn't too bad. The near side sill, as you'll see, needed quite a bit of fettling, so I've had to do quite a lot of chopping around and faffing about with it and cutting it, and so keep watching. You'll see how we overcome that. It's not been particularly easy. I think I say in the video somewhere along the line that it was fitness sill is not too bad. It's like I'm eating those words already. So but see, you'll see what I mean when I get to it. You'll see I do a Fitzy style cut and butt on it as well, and explain a little bit about how that works. It's just brilliant. It's one of those things I've learned on YouTube that will stick with me, and I use again and again and again. And it's just basically it is fitting a sill, but you'll see it's a bit more to it than is usual. Right, okay, so let's make a start on getting this sill done. Gonna obviously pull the clamps off, get the stuck myself in the head. Get the new sill loosely in place. Now when I did the other side, I did have to reshape this sill a bit, so we'll see how we get on this side. It does look slightly better pressing on this side, so let's make a start. Now I must remember to sort this out, tidy this up, and refit this in there somewhere before I put the new sill on, because this is the jacking mount, so that's quite important. So it looks a lot worse than it is, but it's definitely salvageable. So if I put that there, that should remind me to do something with that. Now the trick of putting a sill on is first simply just whack it loosely in place, clamp it, sort of, and then scribe around. Right, with the new sill loosely put in place, mark around where it goes. Now this is not going to be the cut line. If I was to cut there, it would be way off. I'd end up crying a lot. This is just a guide. Same over here. And the idea really is to cut about 1 inch down. Now I have a nice flash new ruler, and that's 1 inch, so I'll put it across there and cut down. And from there on in, it'll be backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards with it until you get it close. And then we'll do the cut and butt across there and work out where we can butt it in here. But it is a slow process. It's not something that you rush. So that will be our cut line down there. So you've got plenty now to play with there, and the same around here. So probably cut on the edge around there so that we can get that close in, because you've got plenty of a flange on there to play with. On the other side, I ended up cutting it to that corner and that corner there, because you can just weld the corner out then and tidy it up. So might yet do that again, might not. We see what we get when we start cutting things away. The same down here, cut 1 inch down and back out to this corner here. I think back out to this edge. So this is where we cut in this off here. Same over here, 1 inch down, about 1 inch across. Happy days. Okay, because it's too tight to get in there with a full grinder, we'll use the dremel. Just like so. Oh, we'll just give it a tug and see where we end up. We've got a spot welder there. Let's cut that out of that.
Hasn't gone all the way through.
The bubble arch is going to come around here somewhere, so we can be quite brutal with this. Get to see what's left. Get the original bits. And that is how you get rid of a sill, just like that. Of course, if you're just doing the sill, you'll be cutting these spots off along there as well. Okay, as is usually the case, this highlights a few woodies. This, which is the sill closing panel, is quite crispy, so that needs sorting out. That's not the end of the world, I have to do that on the other side. It also highlights where I need to cut away this whole panel from. I want to keep that, of course, because that's my seat belt mount. So what I intend to do is mark through there. That's why I've left this in place. Mark through there the centre of it, then cut this out to my weld, just below my weld line around there, and then I can tidy this up and weld that back to the what is now the inner sill. But first things first, let's give that a waggle and see what we got behind there. That is not how structural welding looks. There's steak on that. Okay, scrapping. You can see the original panel there. Now look at the edges of it. That was the original sill closing panel. So we'll, yeah, that's a fairly straightforward panel to make. So bit of work to do before the sill goes back on, and that's job number one. So we'll get that off. And well, before we get too carried away, first thing we'll do is mark that up. Persuader. Yeah, that'll mark up where that needs to be. So the next thing we need to do is cut just below this weld line here, because that's where my new inner panel is. So let's do that. Now if we get something like that all the way along, that'd be nice. Across there, I can, and down there. That's perfect. So now we can rescue that. Put it back on there where the dimple is. Okay, so this is dimpled for some holes. Not quite sure what these lower dimples are for, because they don't line up with anything over there, but these higher ones definitely seem to line up with the holes on the other inner sill, so we're going to drill those out and put a step drill on them. Right, now with holes. Right, let's go waggle that in the vise. We should be able to split that. Just like that. Lovely. Clean that off now. You two can have a bit of my Escort Mark 1.
For sale.
Competition. It seems to be popular on YouTube.
The good stuff.
It is the good stuff, isn't it?
They make everyone seasick, no?
I need to make somebody need to make a can shaker. It can't be that hard. You make something just go up and down like that.
So it's just, yeah, just, you got an old
Cam,
motor over there, yeah.
Cam on the drill. That's the project coming up, I reckon. Lovely. Right, we'll leave that alone. Now, a simple way of getting this back where it belongs is the hole is underneath there. We've drilled out ready. Put our bolt through that side. Tighten it up. And spot that in place. And there we have where the mount will go. Simple as that. Top to it. And should I weld it on there first though? I think it probably should, because it's easier if we get the weld in there without that place. Okay, we'll come back to that. But that's how we're going to do it. But before we do that, because it's going to get in my own way otherwise, I think I'll weld this up, clean this up and weld this up along here first. So it's all nice and solid. Okay, so you may be wondering why I left such an amount on there from when we first had the sill on. Well, this is why. Now that we got a load of stuff out of the way, test fit the sill again, and look how much lower it already is. And that's a good ½ inch already. So that inch, by the time we come in here, come down there again, we're going to be another ¼ inch or so. Again, same across here, look. And of course we've got to get the door on before we spot this into place, because we need to get the gap across here accurate with the door. But hopefully this highlights why you need to leave so much or meat still on the original panel, because if we'd just cut across there now, we would be crying right now. There we go, this is the seat back mount welded back into place. Easy enough, as I was showing before, just put a screw through it and make sure it's all nice and tight and blast in the plugs. Right, that's patched in that hole there. Don't really worry about filming that, it wasn't too exciting, just put a little bit of metal in there and welded it up. Flatted back the welds. Again, you can see I've not knocked it back too far, just knocked the heads off. So happy days. I've got this all cleaned back to bare metal and the weld through primer on there. And the same over here. Clean back to bare metal and weld through primer, ready to go. This there's quite a thickness of filler on this, but it doesn't seem to be too bad, thankfully. You can see the body line is nice and straight down there, no obvious damage on there. A little bit of rot over in this corner, but that won't matter because that'll be gone anyway. So ready to start trial fitting and shaping up, ready for the sill to go on. Okay, I'm happy with that gap there. And that goes round onto the sill underneath. Floor frame, the floor pan underneath. That's quite nice gap in the door. Needs to pop up just a little bit anyway. So what I'll do, I'll open the door now and just run that gently onto the edge of that, just to get that corner cut out the way. That's all we want for there now. We don't want to just creep up on this gently. The idea here now is to be able to get this to settle in behind there. Then we'll work our way along there. So I'll cut just a little bit further, so it'll settle in. we're going to do here. And along the process, if I mess up, I'll show you how to deal with that as well, but hopefully we won't mess up here. We'll go to the first line first before we end up with 2 lines here now. Now this whole sill will shuffle that way very slightly as we tuck into there. But I'll cut that line first, and then we'll come back to the others. Look at this. Right, that's that bit out of the way. Let's give that a little rest bit. Yeah, we're definitely going to be coming that way, just a little bit. Let's get all that out of the way now. Carefully. Right, let's see how we're looking. See, now we can get that to settle. There. Right, this corner's getting in our way, so I'll just bend that out of the way. It's not crucial because you won't be using it. Of course, if you were keeping a standard arch, you'd want to. Well, even so, a replacement arch will be coming down here anyway, so you probably want to bring it into about there somewhere. Anyhow. That makes that a little bit easier to work with. So see, now that'll settle into there. So we can now work with that wherever we want to be. A little bit more trimming around here, not a million miles off, to get that into place. It's all too easy to go in gung-ho and just cut a load out to begin with, but then you're going to have to put it back again, so gently. Right, we'll get our screw back in there now and try the door. Might have a bit of reshaping to do around there to make that line up nicely. Let's see how we're looking. See, now we've come down a bit now, we've came down to there. Right, let's close the door up, see what we got. Get in there. If that's closed up to there, that will be right. Just a matter of that coming round then. Might need a bit of work to bring that round a bit better. But I'm happy with that gap there. So what I'll do is I'll get a screw through there to hold us where we should be. Start working on the front. Okay, before we go any further with that, we'll play with the front. Right, so the front needs to come down a fair bit, so we've got a bit to play with there. So what I want to do is pull the door off, mark around where we are now and cut that off, because we know we're coming down from that. So we should be okay. Mark up where we are on there. down from that about so much. That's about the gap we're looking for on the door, and then more closely trim it. Not even close to the shape of that either. We'll have to rework that around there. We've got some work to do here as well, because that gap from there to there is way off. But no, it's not. We'll do something with it. Cutting it out and putting another piece in there, we'll work something out. It's just a shame it's not a nice fit to begin with. And there, that's not deep enough there either. Right, okay, let's leave it down there, get the door back on and see if we can shuffle it into place. Right, where does that leave us? Right, by the time we come around to there, you know, a million miles off, let's get a screw in there then. Yeah, that's not too bad there now, because it's pulled it down and round. It's a little high though, because it's catching on there when the door's open. Push it down just a bit. Okay. Door off again. Starting to point in the right direction at least. Right, so what we're looking at now is getting that around there, but just down just in that, which I think it's just because you're taking that corner off there. So let's do that. Now I think we're not too far off. Let me get that screw back in. Like that. Not be too far away. Right, that's not too bad there. That flows nicely with the door there for the wing then to sit on it. So that's okay. This is terribly out of shape here. The pressing on this sill is not nearly as good as it was on the other side. It's miles out here. To do some chopping and messing about with that. But we can sort that out at the end of the world. It'd just be nice if we didn't have to for that. Like I said in my other video about buying classics, this is what happens. You buy a panel, you hope it'll fit. I know they don't fit brilliantly, but I thought it'd be a better fit than that. So Magnum near side sill, not a great fit. A lot of fettling to do around there. Now, sometimes if you're replacing this door pillar support here, some of them come with a bottom bit on it, and I would suggest that would be a better way of doing it, because then you'd just chop off this part of the sill from about there somewhere and attach it to that, so you don't have this disaster going on here. But this is what we've got to work with, so we will work with that. Just adds a fair bit to the job. But I'm happy with the gap going along there now, so we can start messing about with tapping it into place. Now, before we get too far ahead of myself, I do need to reinstate the jacking point, so I think I'll do that next before I get ahead of myself. The jacking point put back on place. I'll finish off welding around the little tabs at a later date so I can get to them easier. That is there now, so I remember to fit it. It would be very disappointing to have remembered that or found it after I'd fitted the sill. So yeah, we can crack on the sill now. What I'll have to do here is slit this up along here and metalwork all this around here somewhere, and add in bits to make up for the bits that are missing. yeah, keep watching, we'll see what we do with it. We can do something with it. We can slit this up here slightly and just gently bring this in to fit that, and maybe slit this just to bring this out just a little bit. We can blend it. Same here, we can do something to blend it in. So we're tech screwed on now, and I'm gonna try the door back on to see what our gap is like, and we can start playing with cutting and messing about and getting a bit closer. Right, let's see what our door gaps are like. Let's see what we got there. Oh, that's quite a big gap there. See, that's pulled in. That's not following the door nicely now. Yeah, and don't like that. That needs to come out. This is a lot more challenging than it was on the other side. Right, I've got I'll show what I've done now, but to show on this side first, I've got this flowing better off the door now. So you can see from sort of that angle, this is flowing nice along there now, but look at the gap there. This is the bit that matters. The rest of it we can bodge about with. The bit that matters is along here, and this again, nice gap around there, and it's flowing reasonably well. Inside it looks like that, with a huge gap. If I pull that to there, see how much that moves, we lose a nice gap there. So we're kind of all over the place here with this a little bit. Right, I think I found a bit of a happy compromise here. It's in very slightly, but not horrendously so. It might even be a case of playing with the door hinges to see if I can get that to be attached better, but you'll see when you've got a wing on there, we'll play with that again. This is nice here. The gap itself is consistent all the way along. This is a happy gap around there. The inside, not so pretty. Got gaps there to mess around with. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do here is start getting some tacks on, because this is the bit that matters. This around here. So now that's lined up, I'll get a tack. I get a tack there, tack in around there. Maybe sort of plonk that down there, and a couple of tacks around here. Now it's not perfect, because normally I'd like to get this lined up better before I start tacking, but I'm chasing my tail now, trying to get things to line up, so I need to start getting something set in place. So I think that's what we're going to do, and then sort of around in here I'll get the Dremel in there and cut that and weld, so we get a nice clean butt weld in around there as we go in. But that's the least of my problems at the moment. I'm just trying to get this sill to look half about. Getting better as we're tidying it up. Put a whack on there, because that's not affecting the shape of that now. As I'm pushing down on there now, you can see that's now holding its place, because we've got a few welds in place, which is good news. Manipulate that flange to suit that now. Okay, you can live with that. Even if it means tapping this flange over now to come to that better, I can live with that. That's fine. Okay. happy with this corner. Let's move up to here now. We want to keep this shape here, and we can faff about with these shapes afterwards. But let's get a tack just as they cross over there. So just remaking that crease to bring that closer to suit that now. So that's happy with that fit there. We'll close the door now and see what it looks like. Okay, yeah, still happy with that gap. Yes, that's still happy with that. And it's consistent along there now. So yeah, this is coming a bit nicer now. And we can take the door off and start messing around with this now to see if we can get this to do something better. What I'm going to do, I think, is slit this here so I can bring this in to meet this better, and we'll just work out what we're going to do as we go in, I think. See what I'm doing, just gently going away at it and bringing everything together. It's happy there now. Right, I just realised you can't really see from that angle what I'm doing. Okay, so cutting, slitting up there, and then gently tapping away. You see this slit closing up then as we're getting closer. We're there, so I'll tack this up now and weld this in, and that is sorted out that problem there. And we'll do a similar approach all the way around here really. That was a bit of a better view, but there we go, done now. But there you go, so I'll just weld that down and tidy it up with the grinder. Right, we'll come back to that with the grinder after, but I'm quite happy how that's now flowing much better than it was. So now we'll work on this bit, so I'll stick you back over there now. So a similar approach really. Start slitting bits that don't line up and just make them line up. So I use this now as the line across there, the Dremel across there to get. Right, let's play with this corner here then. As you can see, it's not the end of the world when things don't match up. It's just a bit of fiddling to make them match up. Right, looking like it might suit. Now what I think I'll do now is draw a line around here, sort of follow this a bit neater rather than having this big chunk sticking on here. Right, so for this to be a bit neater, I'm going to come around here really somewhere. I'll fully weld around there then. Right, this side hopefully won't be as much trouble. I'm going to mess around there with the Dremel and get that to tuck in nicely, and a little bit of jiggery pokery there, and then we'll do a cut and butt across there. Hopefully it won't be as much hassle as the other side has been. This is fitting much better now, it's snuggled in, but it's amazing how a little bit of getting it set into place helps. Right, let's get that welded in across there. Well done. Super. Right, so we get things to line up nice along here now. Same as the other side, bit of Dremel. I just follow that line down around there so we can get it all to settle in nicely together. And I can get in from behind on this side as well to get in and take the bits out. Lovely. Right, I'll be a bit more careful with my welding down here. I'll do a spot and leave it cool and then come back to it again as we go. While we're waiting for that to cool a little bit, we could start with a hacksaw cutting butt. This is a classic example of weld-through primer being a pain in the neck. Right, so along here now we'll do the famous Fitzy cut and butt, which is a brilliant way of getting panels connected together and minimising miscuts and distortion and all sorts. So you just go in at an angle and go along, and as if the metal falls in, tack it, and then come back to it and fully weld it. Using something like that to hold it in place, the tack on there, and the tack along there, and happy days. See how it drops nicely and snugly where it belongs. See how easily that drops into place there now. Amazingly, what you're cutting off from behind will drop away. It doesn't get caught up in the welding, which you think it would do. Ah, nice. You can work with it now. That's quite a nice feel across there. It's coming. There we go. And that's the bit that we've chopped out from the other side. So, strap in for that. Right then, so we're going to start spotting across now. This will take forever. I'm going to use my line to each spot. So it's all nicely flush there now. Now there will be distortion, you can't help it. It's just the nature of the beast. All you do is minimise it and deal with what we get. And because it's MIG welding, it's not so easy to planish out because the welds are harder. But you can control the heat better with MIG welding, so it's a bit of a compromise. I've been tempted to learn how to TIG weld, but then when I think about the compromise, whether it's worth it or not, so I stick with what I know. There we go, lovely. Right, I'll knock the tops of all this off with the grinder and see what we end up with. I won't bother filming that because it's quite boring. Alright, there we go. That's that all welded up across there. There's a little distortion there, but nothing too horrendous. It follows the body quite nicely around there, so I'm quite pleased with that. So I'll just grind all these off now and tidy this area up, and then plug weld this into there, and job done. Oh no, got to plug weld across the bottom as well, so we're getting there slowly. Almost job done. Right, so that's looking a bit nicer along there, and around there I haven't got too carried away with getting it too back to metal there. I don't want to grind the strength out of it. Same along here, it's just enough to make it tidy enough so it doesn't look horrendous. That is nicely ground up. So next thing I'm going to do is sort out spot welds across there. I may have just enough room to get my punch into there so I can do my plug welds rather. Right, okay, so if you look along there, this tips back too far this way, so I'm simply just going to get a spanner on that, adjustable, and gently go along and get it back to upright where we want it. Quite simple enough. way along, and we'll be right. Managed to punch my holes ready for my plugs, and then we'll pull that closer and plug that all together. Many clamps applied, plugs drilled out and cleaned out. So I'll bang across there with the welder and plug those in. Then what I'll do, I'll take a grinder and take this off to suit this sill lip. It's a nice neat finish on it then. Okie doke, that's the plug welds done across the door lip. So just on the bottom now, see I've got a clamp on there. Tuck that around now and plug weld it to the floor. That's the sill all plug welded and tidied up. All nicely plug welded on the inside as well. I should change upside down. There we go. Good idea anyway. You can see a bit of paint on there now to finish that, though. Not finish it off, but to protect it for the time being until we somewhere down the line when we start playing the final finishing. But that's put the strength back in the shell there, so that's good news. That's another one more job ticked off the list. Okay, so you see how we overcome the challenges with that and got the sill fitted. A bit more to it than is usual with fitting a sill. I'm not entirely sure whether the sill was horribly out of shape or I had done something wrong myself. So you see the challenge we had with fitting it. Not as easy as it usually is to fit a sill, but we overcame it. You see how we had to cut and chop and mess about with it, but it come nice in the end. The important bit being the sill, the door gap along the sill and around the edge of the door. That's the bit that matters. So as long as that looks nice, everything else doesn't really matter as long as it fits and it's strong. Like I said again and again, if it looks right, it is right, and that's brilliant. Now, thanks for watching. Thanks again for your comments. I really do enjoy your words and your kindness that you have. I'm humbled that so many people are interested in what I'm doing. I said it's just a hobby to me, so thank you, and keep following. If you don't follow already, please do subscribe. It does help massively. And share as well, and don't forget we're on Instagram, so look out for us on there as well as Dave's Garage YouTube on Instagram. Yeah, thank you guys, see you again on the next one.